Last week we talked about coastal defense system and how it can defend our shores against possible amphibious invasion. But on the other side of the table, if you are the attacking side, CDS poses a threat for a successful amphibious operation. Deploying big vessels like LPD or LST near contested beach without a sufficient air defense or air superiority will be too risky for modern amphibious landing. And this is where the landing craft is needed. So today, we're gonna talk about it a little bit. We're going to look at the difficulties of modern beach landing, the Indonesian Navy and Marine's amphibious equipment, and what solution do we need. Before I start, hello everyone, glad to see you again. Welcome back to Pacific Front Channel, a YouTube channel where I talk and discuss military topics and equipment, especially for Indonesian Armed Force. I make new videos every week, so if you like military content just like this one, consider subscribing. Beach landing is still important today, especially for an archipelagic nation like Indonesia. The capability of conducting an amphibious operation and securing a beachhead always being trained and maintained by Indonesian Marines and Indonesian Armed Force in general. But we can compare a modern beach landing with beach landing in World War II or Korean War. While before, amphibious operation can be done in relatively close distance between ships and coast, modern landing operation don't have that luxury anymore. With the advancement in accuracy and range of field artillery and self-propelled rocket launchers alone is enough to wreak havoc on our naval asset if we try to get closer. And now, with the threat of a CDS, it just makes even worse. The safest option will be to launch amphibious operation further away, at least out of the range of field artillery and rocket launchers, like more than 150 km offshore. But this brings us to another problem. A wise man said the further you start, the longest your journey will be. And that's true for amphibious operation. Imagine if your main transport from ship to coast is your armored vehicles, AAV-7, LAV, or BMP for examples. With the average swimming speed only 10 km per hour, it will take more than half a day to bring your marines to the beach. By the time you reach the land, you just lost your element of surprise. Also, don't forget the fatigue and seasickness that your forces have to endure. Sitting in a small space with 7 other guys for hours in the middle of ocean is not comfortable, and it will reduce your forces' combat effectiveness significantly. Then what should we do? Our forces are at their weakest point when they are swimming from sea to land. Going slow only makes it worse, so we need a solution to minimize that disadvantage. In the Art of War, Sun Tzu said, "Speed is the essence of war," and that's what we need for amphibious operation. We need a fast transport or landing craft that can bring troops, equipment, and logistics from ship to land quickly. This will minimize the disadvantage that I mentioned before. Our fleet can be in safe distance from enemy missile, but still maintain a relatively quick movement of amphibious forces, and minimizing seasickness and fatigue of our marines. If we look at Indonesian Navy fleet and Indonesian Marines vehicles for conducting beach landing, they still depend on LST, LCU, and amphibious vehicles, like the AAV-7, BMP-3F, and the Grand Pass BTR-50 and PT-76. From what I see, there is a capability gap in their landing equipment. Maybe it's not really a concern for the Marines since they can bring their firepower without the need of a landing craft, but it is a problem for the Army. Until today, the only ways to transport the Army's MBT and other vehicles is by shipping it by LPD with the availability of a port and LST. And I think this is inefficient and impractical for amphibious landing. Having your biggest gun at standby during your first wave of landings and can be deployed only when the beach is clear for LST to close in, I think this is not the best approach. Side notes here, Indonesian Army also has LST in their inventory, called ADRI 51 and ADRI 52. The Navy's LPD has a ramp door that is wide enough for anything. So instead of LST, maybe we should invest in procuring a landing craft that fits into our LPD and can withstand the weight of a MBT. When talking about amphibious landing craft, I'm always amazed by the US Navy LCAC. Hovercraft is relatively new for me in terms of mode of transport, and I first knew it from this one. What makes a hovercraft design great is the ability to move both at sea and on land, and it proves its capability when delivering aid when the earthquake and tsunami hit Aceh in 2004. Chinese Navy also use hovercraft design as their landing craft. I think the only drawbacks is it's more difficult to operate. And I'm personally curious, what happens if the cushion is being shot though? Will it blow up? If you happen to know, please tell me in the comments. Landing Craft Air Cushion or LCAC has a length of 26.4 meters, beam of 14.3 meters, and displacement of 182 tons, with a payload capacity of 60 tons or 75 tons in overload mode. It has a speed of 40 plus knots at full payload and maximum speed of 75 knots. LCAC has a maximum operational range of 300 nautical miles. Another cool landing craft is IDAR of the French Navy, or Engine de Débarquement Amphibie Rapide, or in English, Fast Amphibious Landing Craft. The French Navy use IDAR as part of their Mistral-class amphibious assault ship. It's a cool landing craft though, with a catamaran design and deck that can be lifted up when at sea. According to CNIM, the builder of this craft, Catamaran Landing Craft, or LCAT for short, delivers the performance of an air cushion landing craft like the LCAC, but at the cost of a conventional landing craft. IDAR has a length of 30 meters, beam of 12.8 meters, and displacement of 285 tons, with a payload capacity of 80 tons or 110 tons in overload mode. It has a speed of 20 knots and up to 30 knots at maximum speed. IDAR has an operational range of 1,000 nautical miles. With the payload capacity of that scale, it's not hard for IDAR to carry a MBT like Leopard, a platoon of mechanized infantry with 6 ANOA APC, or an engineering platoon with their heavy engineering equipment. Having one of the biggest marines in the world, Indonesia should be adaptable with the changing environment of modern beach landing. The threat is getting deadlier, and our equipment is getting heavier. We are already in the right direction by having a bunch of LPD, but there is still a capability gap in our amphibious equipment. And landing craft like LCAC and IDAR provides us the solution. They fit in our LPD, they can carry heavy equipment, and they are fast. Adding one of these landing craft in our amphibious operation list will greatly enhance our beach landing capability. What do you think of amphibious landing craft like this too? Do you think it's the capability that we urgently need or not yet? Let me know in the comment section below. And thank you for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe to my channel. Yes, this is important. And I'll see you in the next one.